Hi there, this is Praying Medic. Thank you for tuning in. This is my update for Saturday, December 16th, and we are going to continue our discussion about white hats or good people inside the Department of Justice and the intelligence community who seem to be leaking information to us through congressional hearings. So I have a short message today, much shorter than my previous messages. It's just a little update on the latest wrinkles in the Department of Justice, the FBI, the Office of Inspector General, how they're investigating what's going on inside the FBI, the top levels, Bruce Orr in the Department of Justice, and these congressional hearings that are coming out where it has been my theory, my belief, and I get this from Sundance, the last refuge on conservative treehouse, that there are white hats, good people inside, and they have information, and they're leaking it to us through these congressional hearings. And so I'm going to get you caught up on what's going on in the last 24 hours. So if you're following my Twitter timeline, you'll see me posting links to a lot of different things. So kind of a little overview is that Sundance and others on Twitter are working on this theory that Department of Justice, Office of Inspector General, we know that they're currently investigating corruption in Department of Justice and FBI, and we just got confirmation that the Inspector General's report is due out probably March or April. So that's good news. We now have probably a timeline that we can look at for the Inspector General's report to come out. The Inspector General's report will likely go to Jeff Sessions. He will receive the recommendation. He and Rosenstein will look at the recommendations that come from the Inspector General's report, and then whatever disciplinary procedures or prosecution need to happen, they'll make that happen. So we're looking at March or April as a timeline for the Inspector General's report to come out. So that's one thing to take in mind. The other thing to consider that popped up in the last 24 hours is after the text messages were released to members of Congress for the hearings with Rod Rosenstein and Chris Wray, some Democrat members of the House Judiciary Committee flipped out and they went to the DOJ and demanded to know why those text messages were released. Who authorized it? Who were they reviewed to make sure they wouldn't compromise a potential grand jury? So there's all this heartburn now on the Democrat side about why were these text messages released to the press and to Congress. So there have been some messages going back and forth between the Department of Justice, the FBI, and the Office of Inspector General. And I'm going to just give you a quick summary. So Rosenstein was asked about the text messages being released, and he said, I'm not with let's see. He kind of punted it to another department inside the DOJ. Public relations. So the public relations arm of the DOJ got involved, and the public relations gal sent back a message, a letter to the Democratic members of Congress saying that they have received permission from the Office of Inspector General to release these text messages. So what the wording was, the Office of Inspector General actually testified in November before Congress and said, I have no objection. If you want to release this information to Congress or to the press, we don't have any objection. The Office of Inspector General said, it's not our issue. You're the Department of Justice. You're the one that has these messages. The text messages were actually given to the Office of Inspector General by the DOJ. And they were requested from the FBI, but FBI wouldn't give them to them. So because the FBI wouldn't surrender the text messages, the Department of Justice did. They gave them to the Office of Inspector General to help them with their investigation. And the Office of Inspector General said, hey, they're your text messages. What you do with them is up to you. It's your discretion. So there has been some heartache going on around that issue. Office of Inspector General has said, hey, not our issue, it's your issue. So the DOJ decided to release the text messages to members of the Intelligence Committee's Judiciary Committee and to the press. So this is creating some anger among Democrats, but it is what it is. So what we're assuming, our operating hypothesis, is that people like perhaps maybe Adam Schiff and other people on these congressional committees are leaking information to the press to try to sabotage Trump and what he's trying to accomplish. And the Office of Inspector General and people in the DOJ are essentially leaking information to Congress in these hearings. And Congress, if it's an open hearing, we get to sit in and we get to listen to people like Ratcliffe, Jim Jordan, Trey Gowdy. They get to question all of these witnesses. They get to question who they've been questioning so far is people like Chris Wray, head of the FBI, Sessions, Rosenstein, and other people. Now they're working their way down the chain of command, and they have other people scheduled to who they're going to question. And the theory is that we're working on is bring these people in front of Congress, feed the congressional leaders information that will help them ask the right questions so that we can listen in to the questioning and we can put two and two together and figure out where this is all going. All right. So I think we have confirmation that that is the correct theory. And here is why I say that. I say that because this is Getz, Representative Getz, who appeared on Varney and Company, I think yesterday. So I'm going to play this video for you. It's really short, where Varney asks Getz a question and he answers it, and his answer verifies our theory.
Where are we going? Are we going to have a new investigation of the investigation? Tell me where we're going with this.
Well, we have thousands of dedicated and professional agents at the FBI and Department of Justice, and they don't deserve the stain that this investigation has brought to the FBI and to the Department of Justice. And that's why it's important to get to the bottom of the corruption and the collusion that existed and that the FBI may have allowed to exist through their own personnel. We are going to be doing subpoenas and interviews in the coming weeks in the Judiciary Committee. Expect that Peter Strzok and his mistress will both be called in for sworn testimony. Also, Bruce Orr, one of the top officials at the Department of Justice, his wife, Nellie Orr, was one of a very small number of employees at the Fusion GPS company that actually gave money from the DNC to Russians to dig up dirt on the president that was proven to be untrue. And so when you have got the spouse of a senior Department of Justice official specifically hired to facilitate this relationship between the DNC and the Russians, it is a real problem. We're going to be putting people under oath. We're going to be getting answers, and we will restore the credibility of the FBI and the Department of Justice.
Matt.
Okay, so this is Representative Getz, and he said we are going to be putting Bruce Orr, who is an Associate Attorney General, who is connected to the Fusion GPS dossier, and his wife, and potentially Bill Priestap, who is Director of the Counterintelligence Division of FBI. All of these people are going to be going in front of Congress. They're going to question them. They're going to get them under oath, and they're going to get their testimony. And the questions that they're going to ask in these congressional hearings is going to be based on information that comes from the DOJ or the Office of Inspector General. So all of these players who are involved in this collusion in the FBI to make sure President Trump would never get elected, and how he was smeared with the Fusion GPS dossier and how the DOJ and FBI funded it and helped put it together, that's all going to be exposed in congressional hearings over the next few weeks. And this confirms our theory, our hypothesis, that people in the House Intelligence, Judiciary committees are going to get these people under oath. And once you get their testimony and once you ask the right questions, you can then refer them to the Department of Justice for prosecution or for disciplinary action or whatever is necessary, whatever is required. But looks like that's the game plan moving forward, is to take the information, get these people under oath, put them in front of the intelligence committees, and find out what's going on. So I think our working hypothesis has kind of been proven by Representative Getz's testimony. So it's all good. We're moving in the right direction. I'm just going to keep on following. Sundance has a hot hand right now, and I've been following the Conservative Treehouse, Last Refuge, and I'm going to continue following this line of reasoning as I come up with more information, as Sundance gets more information. I'll continue to update everybody on what I find out, but know that these congressional hearings are not a waste of time. They're actually serving a very important purpose. So we just need to pay attention and be patient and wait. Cool? Yes, my wife is following QAnon. Some of the stuff that's coming up with QAnon is very interesting. I may be doing some QAnon updates in the future. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. Maybe I should get her on Periscope. She can tell you what she knows. Yes, the insurance, right? We all know now about the text messages referring to the insurance policy, that the FBI senior leadership had created their little insurance policy, which was a scheme to make sure Trump never got elected. And because Trump did get elected and they never thought that could be possible, now they are scurrying like crazy to cover their tracks. But the truth is going to come out, and the truth will set you free. All right, everybody have a good Saturday. Love you. Catch you on the next update.